Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Emacs. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to teaching people how to use the Emacs text editor. Today I'm going to be going over the basics of movement and text editing in Emacs. I'm not intending for this video to be comprehensive. There's a lot of great resources out there, including the Emacs manual, as well as many other YouTube videos with a lot of details on how to move. I'm just going to be going over the very basics that you need to know. Just a quick reminder, if you are liking the content, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing for any of my future videos. Thank you. Okay, so when you first open up Emacs, you may see a welcome message just like this one, and if that's the case, I highly encourage you to go check out this Emacs tutorial after this video, or instead of this video, honestly. Go ahead and mouse over and click it, or you can navigate there with the arrow keys. And once you're highlighted it, you can hit enter, and there's a lot of great content here. So I really encourage you to check this out for more details, but I will be showing some of the basics that this tutorial does go over. Okay, now to get started, if you are seeing this welcome screen, you can go ahead and hit Q, and that should take you to the scratch buffer. If you're not there, you can open up a new file with Control-X, Control-F, and then find the file directory, but I'm going to start by assuming you already have your buffer open. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added some text to the scratch buffer, that way we can review how to move and edit. But before we get to that, I'm going to discuss this concept of the point. So the point is the concept of almost like where you are in the file, and the cursor, as you see this yellow the yellow cursor here blinking on top of the letters. The cursor is a way to visualize where the point is, but the point is actually between two characters here. So in this case, the point is after the C and before the R. So all of our movement commands that we learned today are commands to move the point in Emacs. So the first one I'm going to show you is next line, which we do with Control N, and previous line, which we do with Control P. So go ahead and try that a few times. Control P a few times and Control N a few times to move to the next line and the previous line. Now another command is Control B for backwards character and Control F for forwards character. So each of these commands moves the point, and you see the cursor moving as well. Okay, and one common theme that you'll see in Emacs is that the control will often do commands at a granular level, and the meta character will do things at a more broad level. So in this case, Control F will move to the next character, but meta F, which is commonly the Alt key, or you can push Escape and then F, will move across words. So now I'll hold meta and push F, and we'll see that it does a forward word. So I'll go forward to the end of each of these words, and you'll see that here. So that is meta F. And then meta B, which moves us backward word, and that goes to the beginning of the previous word, as you see here. So try that a few times, hold the Alt key, or perhaps the Option key if you're on a Mac, or you'll have to figure out what key it is for your system. But go ahead and do meta F a few times, and meta B. Okay, and another helpful command that I see a lot of beginners do is they want to go to the beginning of the line, and they'll push left a bunch of times to get to the beginning, or they'll push Control F a bunch of times to go to the end. Now that's not very efficient, is it? So what we're going to do is we're going to hold Control and push A to go to the beginning of the line, and Control E to go to the end of the line. So again, Control A to the beginning, and Control E to go to the end. That'll help us move more quickly. Okay, and another common movement that a lot of people want to do is they want to move the cursor to a piece of text that they have in their mind. So in this case, I am really interested in this word text, and I want to move my cursor to that. Now I could go Control N, and then do a couple of meta F to go forward word to highlight this text here. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Control S command, so hold Control and push S, and now this does a forward surge. So I'm going to type in TEXT, and it highlights all of the words text in this buffer, and you can push Control S again to go to the next one. If you go to the end of the file, you have to push it once again to circle back to the beginning. But as you'll see, my cursor moves to each of these texts, and once I'm at the end, I've got to push it twice. So go ahead and try that. And oftentimes we want to search forward. Now if we want to search backwards, we do the very similar command, but we do Control R for reverse search instead of Control S. So try that again here, Control R, and I'm going to search for TEXT. And there it is, they're all highlighted. Now Control R will move in the backwards direction. And when I go to the beginning of the file, I'm going to need to hit it twice to wrap around to the end of the file. Okay, the next very common thing that I'll show you is how to basically copy and paste, though in Emacs we have a different word for it. So we're going to learn this concept of a region, and I'll just very briefly, what it is when the point is at the beginning of a region, we can push Control Space, and that activates the region and sets the mark at that location where the point was. And now if I push Meta F a few times, you'll see the region is highlighted. So the mark that we set at the beginning of the line is the beginning of the region, and the current location of the point represents the end of the region. Now once we have a activated region or a selected text here, we can use the wipe command and the yank command to essentially do a cut and paste. So Control W for kill region, commonly called wipe, to wipe out the text. Now what that does is that takes that selected text, removes it from the file, and puts it into a buffer that we have essentially copied. Now I'll push Control Y to yank it back into the buffer, and we see it here. But one of the cool things is that if I move the point to the end here, and I push Control Y again, we see that text is copied again. Okay, so that was a brief tour about some of the movement and edit commands that you can do in Emacs. I hope that helps you to get started and learn more about the great editor that is Emacs. Now, I strongly encourage you to go check out the tutorial and the manual, which have a lot more details about everything that I've covered here. Okay, and for that we actually need to run the fancy startup screen. So for that we can run meta and a colon and type open parenthesis fancy dash about dash screen, and it should tab complete, close the parenthesis and hit enter, and we get back to the about screen here, and you can go check out the Emacs tutorial here at the bottom, or the Emacs guided tour, or the manual. I strongly encourage you to check those out, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks, and I'll see you for the next one.